Welcome back to another lesson of East Main 101. I'm your facilitator, City of Jackson Communications Director Kenneth Cummings. And for lesson 19, I am joined with City of Jackson, Tennessee Neighborhood Specialist Elvia Trejo. Elvia, welcome to East Main 101.
Thank you for having me.
I'm excited to talk to you about neighborhood services and what you do for the city as a neighborhood specialist.
Yeah.
As always, we're going to read a bio about Elvia. Elvia Trejo works to strengthen neighborhoods and foster community connections as neighborhood specialist for the City of Jackson, Tennessee. She helps lead initiatives like home repair projects, community cleanups, and the mobile tool shed, providing residents with resources to improve their neighborhoods. Elvia is also dedicated to building relationships across the city, particularly within the Latino community, to ensure inclusive and meaningful engagement. She's lived in Jackson for 9 years and is proud to call the City of Jackson home. She's a mom to 3 amazing kids. She's passionate about creating a better future for her family and her community. She loves Jackson and is excited to play a part in making it even better. Elvia, welcome to East Main 101.
Thank you.
I'm so glad to finally have you on.
Yeah.
It's been great working with you.
Thank you.
And I continue to enjoy to see what you put in your bio, the inclusiveness of bridging the gap between city government and the Latino community.
Yeah.
So we'll get into that much more. So your background, you've been here for 9 years.
9 years on the 19th.
And the 19th, and the first time I met you, you worked at the local.
Yes.
Kind of tell us about just a little quick background about Elvia.
So I moved here 9 years ago. I think it was 2020. I mean, not 2024. 2015.
Math is hard.
Math is hard.
It's okay.
2015. And then I believe it's 2020 when the local opened up applications to have it's like an incubator where they give you the opportunity to sign a 1-year lease. If you love it, you sign a second year. And then after that second year, hopefully your business has grown enough to be able to move into a bigger space. Or if you're just like, hey, this wasn't for me, I'd rather go back online, or business owning is not for me at all. And you tried it, you didn't break the bank. So it's still alive right here. It has Sprinkle Me Sugar and 2 other businesses there. It's great. It was a great opportunity. I remember meeting you and Sarah there. It was a great experience.
And what did you do at the local?
So I had Elvia. I still have that. It's a sewing and crochet store where I make everything myself and design it. Okay. It was really fun. It's where I met most of my current friends. It's where I kind of got connected to downtown. Yeah. When I first started there, I didn't know anyone. Now I feel like I can't walk a block without saying hi to someone. So it was really great. And then from there, after my 2 years, I decided not to move into a bigger space, but I was included in a great opportunity to help build the first Spanish station for radio here in Jackson for West Tennessee. Okay. So that was really fun to work on and kind of name it, help build it up, and then at an appropriate time, I was able to leave that to venture new things, and I ended up with the city.
And so you are, and we'll get into this, how connected you are with the Latino Hispanic community with city government. But starting a radio station, that's a pretty big deal here in Jackson. I mean, we've got a lot of radio stations.
We do.
And to start a Latino catered radio station, I remember we had an event or something that we needed to get translated in Spanish to send to you all, and you were my contact over at the radio station. So how, as you know, for what you did at the radio station, how was that experience, the good sides of being over there?
I think it was just a great experience because when I was at the local, when I was at the radio station, and now that I'm here with the city, it all revolved over the same core goal, which was connecting the Latino community to the rest of the city. Because since there's a language barrier, and then also just the fear of not fitting in or the fear of the unknown can stop a lot of the community from connecting to downtown, to events, to things like that. With the local, I know we did Children's Day. Mm-hmm. And then when the opportunity presented itself with the radio, the same goal was there, to be able to use the radio as a resource. So how can we translate information to Spanish, because there is no Spanish news stations or newspaper.
Right.
So it was the only media in Spanish for the Latino community. So from events to resources to organizations that can help them, to promoting their own businesses, that was the only thing that was available to them at the time. And as time has moved on, things have expanded and changed, but in that moment, it was such a great thing to be involved in.
And that's amazing to have, especially in a city where that community is growing. I mean, it's growing across the country, but to be able to focus on that community, to tell them, hey, you are a part of our city.
Oh, of
you
course.
need to know what's going on.
Yeah.
So, again, I'm grateful to have you on to be able to continue that work, not necessarily on the radio, but as a city government employee, that community can see, oh, we've got somebody there, and we can reach out to learn more about.
And they have reached out, and it's been great.
That's awesome. So, worked at the local, and the local again is like an incubation where small business, you want to start a business, you apply for it. Go over there, and you enjoyed your time over there?
Oh, I loved it. It was great, from the holiday season, which was my favorite, through the events, through the summer, and on Saturdays, the farmers market, people would come over, because it's right there. It's across the street. And it was just great. It was a great time. It was amazing. So
I will say, when I worked for the Sun, I remember when the local started. The year that you were there was you... it was Turntable, I believe.
It was Turntable and Light Trap.
And Light Trap
Bookstore.
That year that you all were there, it was y'all actually not grew up together, but y'all connected y'all got close. And y'all held events out there in that space. And that kind of sparked that area of being, okay, the next 3, what are y'all going to step up and do?
Yeah.
So I would say congratulations to what you did in that space for that time.
Yeah.
It was amazing to be able to come back out. When I worked for the Sun, you wouldn't catch me downtown. But to learn that, now I work for the city, the farmers market, then we had the local. There was things to do, and we could come down there. And it was like
that was our big thing. We were just always trying to make events happen. They were family friendly. There wasn't your everyday kind of like events. So we were always trying to think of different themes, different things to do, try to keep up the space, and just be very engaging with the community. And now, that was 2020. We're in 2024. Since then, we've seen. I can count over half a dozen of businesses that are in downtown now. And I'm not saying it's because of that, but it's just showing that businesses can thrive in Jackson. Small businesses can thrive in Jackson. I think that was a very important message.
And I think y'all's group was the one to bring the seating. Was it you all, the seating out there?
Yes, turntable.
So there was no seating area.
Yeah. I think there might have been benches, but I know we have like the tables now, the umbrellas, the high chair, the bar.
Yes.
So live events, live music, loved it.
There's one building for like food or drink because it's set up with plumbing, and then the other 2 set up for small businesses, candle making, for you tailoring.
I think the crochet store is there now, which I love. It's really cute and fun. And then before that, there were a few other businesses that were in there.
So again, congratulations on that, and now having you working for the city. Did you ever dream that you would work for city government?
I didn't. I think it's just one of those things where, again, going back to that core goal and core mission of I want to help people. While I do have certain things that I'm still working on or that prevented me from certain things in my younger age, I think that I do have privilege that other people in my Latino community don't. So I think the mission of always wanting to help people, wanting to be the bridge between the American community and the Latino community in whatever capacity, whether it was at the local, at the radio station, or now, I think that want was always there. And I think slowly that started narrowing things down to where I ended up being the Vista intern and then accepted the job once offered. So I think maybe in again, in the core of things, yes, but I just didn't know how I was going to get
So
here.
your core has always been, I want to help
Yes.
people, and for you specifically, bridging that gap between
Yes.
the Latino and American community, because we're all here in America. We're all
Yeah, I
here in
mean,
Jackson,
at the end of the
Tennessee.
day, they're all residents of Jackson.
Exactly.
Whether they come from Venezuela, Honduras, Mexico, Canada, Europe, any other continent, if you live in Jackson, you're a resident of Jackson. And us being the local government, we're a government for all residents living within our city limits.
That's exactly right. So you start off working at the city as a Vista for our Love Your Block program.
Yes.
We'll get into Love Your Block and the growth that it has made, and yes, especially with you on. Talk about your role as a Vista, and we'll go into what you're doing now. What did you do as a Vista?
So as a Vista, it's kind of, I want to say it's a little bit of both worlds, where you have an official work plan, but then like any other internship, you're kind of just doing what needs to be done. So I started January of 2023 with the Love Your Block program. And again, just anything that needed to be done, from creating content, volunteer management, project management, tool inventory, painting a house, getting on a roof, and just checking that out up there. Again, just what needed to be done, I was there to do it. And it was a great experience because it was a sense of, I can't mess this up, but even so, I need to try my best to do right by our residents. So it was just great learning experience because I was the new kid on the team. And even then, I was hired through AmeriCorps. So I was stationed at City Hall, and it was just it was a cool situation because I was stationed here, but hired through AmeriCorps, but still a city employee. So that was really fun to think about. And it was just great connecting with the residents, and it was just really excited once I became an official part of the team. But it felt like I did pay my dues.
So you say you've been on roofs, you've done community cleanup, project management. You talk about the closet with all the tool management. That closet's got a bunch of tools, and shout out to all the organizations that help donate all those tools. And I wish people could see that closet and how it used to be. How it used to be. It was organized clutter. Like we knew where everything was, but it was just everywhere.
It was there.
Everywhere, all at once.
Everything all
but
at once.
You've changed this program, and you're working directly with Abby Palmer, who is our neighborhood services director for the city, and you are, we call a neighborhood specialist. Talk about what that role is and what you do.
So Abby and I work very closely with the program, with the Love Your Block program. So if a resident ever has a concern of, hey, this is happening on my street, or I know that I need to contact the city, but I don't know where to go, where to start, they would call me, and I would kind of guide them and direct them, whether it's the street department, public works, things like that. But then also if they need help with their home, if Love Your Block can't help them, if they don't meet our qualifications, I have other resources that I can send them to. I'm kind of just, I want to say, a dictionary or a yellow pages for our residents where, hey, you have an issue, I can point you in the right direction, even if Love Your Block or the Mobile Tools Shed, or even if the city, like other departments in our city can't help you, I will point you in the right direction and guide you. If you say, hey, my street, my neighborhood is so dirty right now, so much litter, I will work with you to help recruit volunteers, and we can get out there on a Saturday, spend about 2 hours just cleaning up your neighborhood, just making your neighborhood that much better, whether it's in North Jackson, East Jackson, Midtown, Downtown, or South Jackson.
And you want to get the residents involved because this is where they live. You want them to get the...
Yes, to take not just pride and not just accountability, but to go outside and meet your neighbors. Because that way, we have worked in some neighborhoods that had so much litter. But once one neighbor saw that one of their neighbors was out there cleaning up with us, they came out and they're like, hey, I have 15 minutes. And now you pass by those neighborhoods a year later and they're clean because they take responsibility for their own street. And it's so much easier to add 30th or 40th cup to the trash than to be the first one to throw it out your car window.
I like that.
So that it's been great just driving by the high congested areas that we used to see a year ago. And now we drive by and they're pretty much clean and kept clean by these residents. And now they know their neighborhoods, and now they can go there once a month or once every other month to pick up the small amount of litter that there is.
So are y'all still, some of those neighbors that reach out to you, those residents who reach out, are y'all still close with them, and do you check up on them?
Yeah, sometimes I see them out in events or at the farmers market, and we just say hi. And that's another thing that we just love, that this program, Love Your Block, or me as a neighborhood specialist, that we want to connect residents to our local government. We want to be approachable because it's not this huge machine. It's real people working these jobs. You know, if if the building was empty, there wouldn't be anything happening. But sometimes people think that our government is just a self-working machine, but we're real people, and we want to connect with our residents.
So I should have asked this for one of your pop quiz questions. What was, working with Love Your Block? And Love Your Block, it's a program that was started earlier, and it just kind of, the organization that started it said, hey, City of Jackson, y'all are doing so good. Y'all just keep the name and keep going with it. And it's been 3 or 4 years now that Love Your Block is?
Yes, so it's a 2-year program
Right.
that's funded by them. After the 3rd year, it goes into the general budget. We had the opportunity to change the name if we wanted to, but they also allow us to keep it if we wanted to. Since we have grown such a community around the Love Your Block name, we just decided to keep it just to not cause any confusions or things like that. But we do love our blocks. So we just thought that would be a great name to keep.
And so talk about one of just one of your favorite projects that you did. I know you've got many. I've seen you on the roofs, on the ladders, and in your paint, in your hat, out painting houses red, and you come back to the office, you're covered in paint.
Yeah.
Talk about one of your favorite projects.
I think it was out in East Jackson. There was a gentleman we helped paint his whole house, Mr. Cole. I think that was so special because he didn't get approved the first year he applied for, and he then got approved the second year. And we did that with our NCCC team that was here for, I think it was 5 to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
I can't really remember. But that was so special because when he first saw us out there, his face lit up, and we told him, like, hey, we finished most of your house. There's some spots in the back that we have to come back and redo. And we did give him a small, like, gallon or half-gallon bucket to keep. We came back the next day, and he was out there doing it himself. So just seeing our team show so much love and care to his house motivated him to go out there and do it himself. And
now, is that one of the things that you hope that residents do? I've got the help, but if I'm able to do it myself, let me go out and do it, and they come back.
Yeah, and we can talk a little bit more about that with the mobile tool shed. But yeah, that's what we're hoping to kind of empower our residents to get out there and also participate. Even though with the NCCC team, we had more than enough people to finish his house. It was just end of day, and we had to come back a second day. It was just amazing that he was so excited to go out there and just finish his home, and it was so fun.
Now, with some of the residents that y'all have, well, maybe all of them, do they show that excitement when you come out?
Yeah, most of them do. Some of them are a little bit older in age, so they can't really come outside. But all of them are always just so thankful and so excited for the few repairs that we do, or the huge one, which is the home painting, which is, it's considered one giant repair.
Gotcha. So, and speaking of repairs, and we talked about the mobile tool shed, that is something that I believe is one of the greatest things that's happened in the city. A government agency providing tools for any resident that needs to use it. Talk about how this mobile tool shed has changed the game here in Jackson.
This is something that Abby Balmer has worked on for so long, and seeing it come from an idea to a physical thing has been so amazing. She has done an amazing job with this. So residents can rent 1 to 5 tools, up to 3 power tools, and they can rent them up to 3 days. So if you pick it up on Friday, just bring it back on Monday. And you can even rent out paint. So if you want to paint a room in your house or even your whole house, we're still working on that. But you can rent, again, power tools or one-time uses like rollers, paintbrushes, things like that you'll just throw away. If you're a resident, that's what you can do. If you're with a church, a neighborhood association, or a business and you want to help a neighbor or repair your own church, or you know an elderly resident that needs help, and again, you as a church or organization wants to rent the whole van, you can rent the whole van for a weekend, and it has lumber, it has tools.
And these tools, these are actual legit tools like lawnmowers and talk about some of the things inside.
So one of the great things is that it can have a lawnmower, and I know a lot of older residents or disabled residents can't really keep up with their yards. So before they get sent to codes, they can rent one. And when we say rent, it's free. It's kind of like a library. It's more like checking out a book.
Checking it out, okay.
So you check it out. All you need is a driver's license, a valid driver's license or ID. And we'll just fill out a few waivers and contracts and things like that. Get some contact information. You rent it out. You pick it up here in City Hall yourself and then bring it back here. We check that it's okay, that it hasn't been damaged, the condition of it. But if you want to check out the whole van, we'll come and drop it off at the location Friday and then go pick it up Monday.
Wow. I mean, I don't hear, there may be cities, but to be a part of a city, to, like you said, Abby, from an idea to us pulling the van in front of City Hall, then y'all loading it with the tools, the lumber, the paint. Yeah. And when I say tools, you've got legit hammer nails, not just hammer nails. You've got lawnmowers, leaf blowers, saws, a lot of things that can help.
Drills, everything.
Yes, to help out with a small home repair or paint or anything like that. That's an amazing initiative that you all, and do you kind of manage that with Abby?
Yeah, so we manage that together. Right now that she was on maternity leave, I kind of took over that. But it's just really great because sometimes residents need, they're like, okay, I can't afford new windows, but I just need them sealed. It's like, okay, you can rent out our caulk gun and then 1 or 2 tubes, and there you were able, goes back to empowering the residents to do the repairs themselves, because unfortunately not everyone meets the criteria to qualify for some of our home repair programs, not just ours, but others in the city and the county. They don't qualify for those because they're in this threshold of income where they don't make enough to afford their own, to pay for their own tools and materials, but they don't make low enough to qualify for these programs. So they're in this like middle area.
So they make too much to qualify, but don't make enough to
buy these things. Yeah, because they are expensive. Everything is expensive. So they're able to, again, borrow these for free and maybe take a weekend and just knock a few home repairs out. And I just love the idea of that because when I was younger, I would have loved something like this to be able to fix the columns in my house, my fence, anything pretty much. We have a tool for everything. And if we don't have the tools, you are able to fill out a form to request that we purchase because we do have budgets to be able to purchase more items.
That's an awesome initiative to have for a city. And some of the other projects that I know that you do specifically, you are big on litter cleanups.
Yes.
Again, you've been here for 9 years. There are people who've probably been here for years and years who may be contributors to the litter. And you, 9-year resident of the city, you are ready to clean this entire city up. And I will say this, the city is a lot cleaner over the past few years. We don't get a lot of calls as much. Yeah. Of course, we know there are certain spots. Yeah. There are areas we haven't got everywhere.
Area.
Right.
Yeah.
We haven't got
We're working on it.
We're working on it. But you've done so many of them. Talk about why you enjoy doing that, or why you just chose to pick that up as a major project for you.
I think it's just because it's such, when I say easy, I mean compared to some of our huge city projects, you know. It's by no means easy to be out there on the side of the road as cars are flying by, but it's an easier project that has an immediate impact, you know. With other projects that the city's working on is these like slow processes that have checkpoints at every turn, right? With litter cleanups, we get out there, we pick up the trash, we leave it there. Either a truck or a claw comes and grabs it. And after 2 hours, you see the immediate difference.
Yeah.
So I think that's why I love it so much, because it's the immediate difference. And then you can get high school students, college students to come and do their service hours that they need to graduate. So it's benefited different people in different ways, from them getting out there, cleaning up their own communities, to them getting those service hours, to the residents of that street that might be elderly or disabled, or just parents that are flying 3 different ways with 3 different schedules, see their neighborhoods being taken care of by other members of our community. So I just love them. Yeah. My kids have been out there with me. They know that Saturday mornings it's litter pickup day. Yeah. So we have a picker at home where we'll go out in our yard, because we're on Old Humboldt on the corner. So there's always trash coming and going, but we've gotten pretty good about going out there to pick it up as a family. So it's just fun all around.
And like I said, you have done an amazing job with, organizing, and it seems like a lot of people who are part of this, they enjoy being able to do this, not just being able to pick up, but seeing that immediate change of how bad it was, and then you look back after you've picked all this trash up, how clean it is. I mean, it makes, I would say, it makes people drive slower, because they realize, oh wow, this neighborhood is really nice.
Yeah.
So love your block, the mobile tool shed, the litter pickups. You are a neighborhood specialist.
Yeah.
And again, working for the city, there is an importance of city government and the city's residents. I mean, even those of us who work for the city, some of us are city residents. So we want to make sure we're clean as well. So for you, why do you think government should be involved with citizens in making sure their community is clean and making sure that they actually love their block?
I think that all the government should take care of its residents to a degree, obviously. So I think that with local government, especially here in Jackson, we're right at a size where we can still do fun things, and we can still connect one-on-one. I mean, where you don't have 300 residents, 500 residents, and, like these giant cities have. So we're at that sweet number where we can connect literally and figuratively with our residents.
And with the logo, connect here.
Yeah. So it's easier than bigger cities. So I think it's very important that us as the local government support our residents that are wanting to make our city better, whether it's through art, whether it's through cleaning initiatives or other needs, to prevent bigger issues in the future. And that's what we have done with some of the home repairs. We've been able to replace doors and windows, and we're looking to maybe even do some roof repairs in the future. And those can prevent bigger issues in the future.
Yeah, that's a huge
And
deal.
then that goes into housing, and that goes into all of these other things. So it's repairing this domino here prevents this domino over here from falling. So I've just always been a fan of helping, but also empowering. I know a lot of people don't want the government 100% in the business, but they do want us to do the work that we're supposed to do.
Right. And with you now working for the city, and again, we talked about it earlier, the community that you kind of focus on. And when I say focus on, I say that not necessarily dismissing other communities, but you as in the Latino community, there has been a gap. And as someone who works for government, yes, you are that bridge. And you've done some amazing things to assist in bridging that gap with the consulate visits. I've never heard of that until you got here. I know there are people who have seen articles about it, and they may drive by on a Saturday by City Hall and see that it's open. Talk about the importance of something like that for a city and the role that you play in that.
So the way I put it is, imagine that Jackson doesn't have a DMV, right? Or it doesn't have a post office, but you need a passport, you need a driver's license or ID. And then somebody or the government or another entity brought in a mobile DMV. How impactful would that be for the residents there? So that's kind of how I describe the mobile consulate. We have 3 in our regions. One's in Little Rock, one's in Atlanta, and one's in New Orleans. It's 6 hours, 8 hours, and about 3-ish to Little Rock. But they're only open Monday through Friday. So a resident would have to take off work, kind of find childcare, and we know how fun that is to find.
As a new dad myself.
It's a whole thing. So by bringing the consulate here, we're not only keeping parents working, not losing those daily wages, keeping students in school, which is very important, daily attendance to school, and then also going back to the number one, where they're not losing that daily wages, but they're not spending that money outside of Jackson, from Jackson to Little Rock, right? Whether it's getting a hotel to spend the night there, having to go back another day, because a lot of the time the documents that they don't bring, they have to go back to their house. And here in Jackson, they'll run and it's 10, 20 minutes away if they're all the way up north and depending on traffic. But with Little Rock, they would have to schedule a whole new appointment. And by bringing that here, we're keeping that money here in Jackson circulating. And we're keeping those parents at work and those kids in schools. And again, if they're missing something, they can go back to their houses, bring that document. And now if they need to do anything from getting a phone to getting an apartment or renting a house or putting their kids in our school system, they have the documents necessary. Or, on the other hand, if they ever do something they're not supposed to, and they encounter one of our sheriff's officer or police officer, they say, hey, my name is Jane Doe. The officer is able to verify that information with the document provided, whether it's an ID, whether it's a passport. So they have this document, and that helps our law enforcement officers verify the identity of our residents correctly. So I feel like it benefits the city, benefits the resident, but it also benefits other organizations or entities within the community, banks, landlords, everyone.
So is this something new, or is it just
new
on
to
my
Jackson?
radio? Okay. Well, I mean, as far as is this something? The mobile is new to Jackson, but on this scale, it's also new to Jackson. The scale that you
they used to only give us 250 appointments. They were here back in, I want to say 2019 or 2018. It used to be done at one of the churches here in Jackson. So it's not 100% new. We brought it back last year. I believe it was the August or September of last year of 2023. They thought we did such a great job. It was just great. The residents were great. We had great feedback, so they decided to give us 30 additional appointments. That second and third consulate went great, so they decided to give us on our fourth consulate 300 appointments. So that's 300 families being benefited by that here in Jackson. And while we did have some residents travel to Jackson from Memphis, I believe even Kentucky, Nashville, the other side of Nashville coming, most of the residents were here from Jackson and Madison County. So that was just such a huge need. Right now we have serviced about 1,080 residents. And I mean, that has kept.
That's a good number.
Yeah.
That's a good number. And you say keeping kids in school, parents at work, money circulating. You don't have to get a hotel.
Yeah.
You can
And
stay at home.
We did a survey, a little survey at one of the consulates to kind of average how much was spent. And this is if they were to travel to Little Rock, eat at a very cheap fast food place, not spend the night, travel in a very economic car that doesn't spend a bunch of gas. By the end of 2024, we have kept, I believe, $700,000 in Jackson.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money
That's
to keep in
money.
here.
Like I said, that's an awesome initiative. And you say it used to be at one of the churches. How important was it for you to be able to bring it to City Hall?
I think it was important, but I think the bottom line is that we just wanted the residents to have this resources because there was a point where all of our venues were booked up, so we didn't really have a spot. At that moment, we reached out to other nonprofits and churches to see who can take them in. Because at the end of the day, it was about having this resource for residents. When we thought about the idea of bringing it here to City Hall, because we're closed on the weekends and we are able to use Bang Langford in the first floor, that was a game changer. Because these residents were able to kind of come into City Hall and get familiar with not just our resources and what's available to them, but also their responsibilities as Jackson residents, because nobody has ever talked to them in their own language and said, hey, yes, we have all these great resources for you, but we also have all these responsibilities from you need a permit for this and a permit for that. And if you need a second trash can, here's a number to order one because you can do that, even though you didn't know that. To keep our streets cleaner. Just so many things that they learn.
And just the building itself.
Yes, and just the building.
I'm not going to say I'm sure they've never been, but there might have been some who never knew where City Hall was.
Yeah, so that was great. And since it usually takes about 2 hours for them to receive their documents. So we have taken that as an opportunity to, during those 2 hours, kind of do small workshops with them to just give them all of the information and resources. And if they have any questions, again, their kids are growing up here and they work here at our restaurants, construction, clinics, courthouses. We're everywhere, and the best way. They're residents of the city.
This is where they need to come to do business. And we welcome them here at City Hall. So that's awesome. Again, that initiative, you are a neighborhood specialist. That's what you are. That's a good title for it. You specialize in making sure all the residents in this city who choose to want the help, you're available for them to do that. Elvia, thank you for coming on to East Main 101 Lesson 19. Of course, before we go, I've got a pop quiz. 3 questions I usually ask my guests just about them, just to get to know them a little better. So the first question is, looking ahead, what is one thing that you have in mind that you really want to do?
I think that we're doing everything I've kind of dreamed of doing. I think it's just maintaining that. I would love to see Children's Day expand and kind of encourage the downtown businesses to do things on that weekend, which is the last weekend in April. I love everything we do with Love Your Block. In the spring, we have the home repairs, and then in the fall, we have the neighborhood improvement project, and that's where we're at now. So I think just seeing these different initiatives kind of grow and involve the community more. I know we have the 3 murals that we have done so far. 1 is in the works. Just seeing everything that's already there be watered and expand. So I think I'm just excited about the now.
So speaking of the murals, is that a Love Your Block project?
Yes. So there's 3. There's one at Jacoa on East Chester. There's Hub City Blueprint, and that's on Airways. And then there's going to be one on Shannon Street, and that with Franklin's Little Bar. It hasn't started, but we should see it finished before the end of the year. And I'm really excited about all 3 of those. They were all funded through our neighborhood improvement grant. And it's wonderful to see just more art everywhere, because if there's ever public art, there's a reduction in crime and a reduction in blight. So,
So and I know this is pop quiz time, but this neighborhood improvement project it's a cool initiative as well.
Yeah.
Y'all mainly focus on like if somebody wants to apply for and do it like on a private business. Y'all don't necessarily do on public. Like we have the public art.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we mainly do on private because it has to be in the building of the person applying.
Okay.
So Franklin Little Bar, Jacoa, Hub City Blueprint, and then we do have a public art commission. And like right now, they're working on the sidewalk over there by the local and by the radio station on I believe is Lafayette and North Shannon.
Yes.
And it's a great one because it's on the ground. I love it. We have one over here by Turntable, so they focus on more public.
Okay.
We're granting private.
Okay.
For now.
In that neighborhood, how often y'all plan on doing that?
That's every fall.
Every fall.
So
okay.
the spring is for home repairs, and the fall is for neighborhood improvement projects.
Spring home repairs, fall neighborhood improvement, and when the fall comes back around, we'll probably get on and we'll talk about more about the neighborhood improvement project. It's grown. This is the second year that
So last year was our first time doing it, and this is our second, and we're already thinking of fun ways to improve it next year.
And that's awesome. And again, I can't wait to bring you back on to talk about that. So, pop quiz question number 2.
Okay.
I know what you do like on the side as far as crochet and pottery and things like that. Of those, whether it's tailoring, all of it's art. What's your favorite out of all those things that you do?
I think that's a very hard question because one I have been doing for about 26 years. The other one I've been doing for 1 year.
Okay.
So I think my favorite form has been when I've incorporated both.
Okay.
I made a small little bowl situation, and then I was able to crochet through the holes.
Oh.
So it went from the pottery hardness to the soft crochet on top.
So it's like you mixed art. I think that's what they call it.
Yeah, mixed art.
So pottery and crochet together. So it's a bowl. What did you crochet around it? Like
it just went into like a vase. It enclosed.
Okay.
Maybe I'll show you a picture if
That's
I have
awesome.
it.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. And pop quiz question number 3. If there were one thing you could change about how neighborhoods perceive government, what would it be?
I think we talked a little bit in the beginning of it. It's just of how approachable we are. Going back to a lot of people think we're just this giant machine, this self-power, self-run. They'll say it's the government. But was it the government or was it neighborhood specialist Elvia or Communications Director Kenneth that took that decision? So I think the way that I would love for the public to see us a little bit more approachable, we're their neighbors. I have met some of my neighbors and not knowing they were sharing their concerns for our neighborhood. And I was like, well, hey, lucky you. I work for the government. This is where you can report it. 311 is a great resource. And they were like, oh, I would never think that such a normal person. I was like, we're all just normal people. We're moms, we're dads, we're your neighbors, we're your church members. We're just in your pottery class with it.
I just happen to work for this.
I'm also the government. So just the approachability of it. And I know we're doing more events. I know Christiana's working on some holiday events, and then we have like the Children's Day or the Heritage Months where people can come and meet us, and they'll be downstairs in the lobby and just chat to kind of, we'll hear your concerns and we'll definitely, put pen to paper and word to action to get that done because we do care about our residents. I don't think I've met a city employee that doesn't care about our city or our residents, and I think that's the beauty of it. And I wish more people knew that, how much sleep some of us lose over trying to make our city better.
And I totally agree. We, as city government employees, we live in the city. Pothole is a pothole for me. It's for you. It's for, anyone in North Jackson, East Jackson, everybody who drives over that pothole or trash picking up.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a secret street that the city employees drive on that's perfect.
As a city employee, if I live on a street, my street will probably be last.
Yeah.
Because I'm one of those types as a communications director. I want to make sure everybody in the city knows that we are people in this organization. So kudos to you.
Thank you.
As I say, you are a neighborhood specialist. It's not just a title. You are specialize in these neighborhoods. Elvia, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me, Kenneth.
I'm so grateful to be able to work with you and see all the things that you do in making this city better than it was the night before.
Thank you.
That's what I say. So, Elvia Trejo, thank you again for coming on. That does it for East Main 101 Lesson 19. Of course, there's always homework. And for homework for Lesson 19, I want you to check out the Love Your Block. Check out their initiatives by visiting loveyourblock.jacksontn.gov. A lot of things on there. Again, that mobile tool shed is an amazing resource for anyone who wants to use any tools, or if you're an organization, you can rent out the entire van, and it's a pretty cool van. It's got a whole bunch of things inside of it that you can rent out to work on home repairs
for free.
Anything for free. That's the big thing. It's for free. Again, visit loveyourblock.jacksontn.gov. There will be a link in the description and here on the screen. That does it again for East Main Lesson 19, East Main 101 Lesson 19. Don't forget to follow us on all of our government social media accounts and opt in to our text alerts by visiting connect.jacksontn.gov. Also, be sure to visit eastmain101.jacksontn.gov to subscribe to our YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcast channels to listen to each lesson in its entirety. And until next lesson, class dismissed.